Your story and only your story with a lot of detail.
Hi, my name is Roza Eisenman. I am a 67-year-old female, born in Poland. I came here at the age of 9 and settled in Rochester, New York, with my parents, my whole family, and coming here because it was a tailoring industry, and my father was a tailor, or clothing industry. After we settled in the we settled in the Upper Monroe area after first living in the house in South Wedge for 6 months, because the Upper Monroe was predominantly Jewish, and my father being Jewish, I was raised Jewish, mostly Jewish. My mother wasn't a born Jewess. I went to Beth Shalom Hebrew School, which is up the street near Culver and Monroe, where ironically I now live at the age of 67 in senior housing at the park, Caps Hill Park. My life was pretty interesting as I grew up through the years. I went to Monroe High School in the city. I was the middle child of 5 of us, and was pretty active, playing tennis at Caps Hill and pretty adventurous. After high school, I floundered about not knowing what to do, but I did go to secretarial school, and I got a job through an agency being a secretary to an office manager, and using shorthand and a typewriter before computers, BC. This was in 1970, I'm talking about. I was predominantly, I consider myself straight, dated men, even though at 13 I had a little, a play out with my next door neighbor, the rabbi's daughter, giving her a kiss, thinking, I was playing house with her, I guess. And even at that age, 14, I was starting to meet gay people, but it was very closed community. I mean, gayness was not accepted in the 1960s and 70s. It was a social disease, so I really thought it was like, that's not where I want to be. So I followed along with my life and dated boyfriend, had not many, but had boyfriends because I was cute in high school, considered cute. And that's how we lived our life. And as time went on, and I lived through, my sister had a husband, my older sister married, and her husband one night said, "Hey, Rosa, you want to go out?" At the time, they were splitting up, I guess, and he took me to Jim's bar, a gay bar in the city at Liberty Pole Way, I think it was. It was the first, actually the second, I have to go back, gay bar I had ever seen. It was mostly men. I went in and it was like, just a whole new world with the guys dancing in the cages. And because he had a gay brother, so to him, he was straight, but he had a gay brother, so to him it was not a new world. After we track back to when I worked at the U of R as a secretary, once I met some of the students because I was in academic advising, and one of them took a liking to me and invited me to go to New York City with him. And I remember going, not being really attracted to the guy. He was, a senior, very intelligent. Going back, I said I was stupid because he came from a wealthy family. We went into the village. He said, "Let's go stay with my brother." And then he took me to a club, and apparently his brother was gay too, because we went to this gay club. And then we were going, and again, it was a whole new world. It was like totally, to me, something like like a theater, actually. And I'm like, wow, there's a world of people, same-sex people, people loving each other. And we started walking back to the apartment, and I was just like so flabbergasted or in a whole different mindset that I guess he wanted to have sex with me or sleep with me, and I couldn't put myself to it. And I don't know if it was because I had high morals or just the fact that I'm like, but I don't want to have sex with a man. I was confused. He was younger. Going back now, I go, boy, Rosa, I mean, even if you married and divorced him, you would have been well off. But as I age, though, it's funny, I look at, my life after that changed a lot. And I still had a boyfriend in high school. I had a boyfriend, nice guy. We actually lived together on a farm. I was just out of high school, going back again, and with about 4 other people. That was during the Beatles and the hippie days. They called them hippie days, 60s. And I had a nice job working in downtown, and we lived in Onion Falls. So he would drive me to work every day because I didn't have a car at that point, and pick me up. And it was really a nice, quiet life until the house burned down. Um, Unfortunately, there was an accidental fire, and everybody except a couple animals got out safely. But after that, I moved in temporarily with him in the city, but wasn't happy in the area, sleeping on the floor like hippies. And so I moved back home with my parents on Avondale in the city. I think I was 22 then. Moved back with my parents temporarily. And of course, Eric, my boyfriend at the time, wasn't allowed. So we sort of split up. And eventually, he found a new girlfriend. I was a little hurt because, he was my first boyfriend. So I went through this mourning period and a little depression. Then I went out west because that's where I took a trip out west with my friend's cousin, and this, ex-boyfriend friend of mine, he moved out west with this new girlfriend. I thought I'd visit, but I was like in a weird state of mind then. I was sort of like confused and like missed him because he was my stability, because my parents were always busy. He was like one stable person in my life at the time. Because like my brothers and sisters, everybody was busy with their lives. Everybody was doing their thing. I was 21, I guess finding myself. So I sort of like I lost like a best friend. So I was reaching out, doing, like I said, went to California with this guy. He had a crush on me. And again, I couldn't get close enough. I like sort of put myself into, close myself up to feelings, male or female. At the time I didn't have any major feelings for females, or at least I didn't have any that I expressed. And so I was fighting with the idea of the notion of my heterosexual identity. At 25, I actually got engaged to a man, a nice Jewish boy. I think I might have had crushes on girls, but I didn't act on it, because at 25, I said, oh, maybe I should have a child, and that's what was expected. So I actually found, my neighbor boyfriend at the time. We sort of dated, didn't hit it off. Then I said, okay, I really want stability is what I was always looking for. So we tried again, and then, we made it work, and he was all excited because he had just broken up, and we were going to make it happen and have a nice Jewish family and babies. And we lived together at Rustic Village, I remember, and he was a great housekeeper. He'd clean and cook, Kevin, and I would go to work. I had a job. I think it was in a law firm at that time, and come home. It was clean, and most of the time we got along, but he was a little bit I don't even want to use the word possessive, but he would have a little temper tantrum, like he smoked a little pot with his friends, hippies, and he'd get moody, like he would, and tired, moody. The pot made him. One day by accident, he sort of elbowed me in a car. It was totally an accident because I was asking to see a car, and he said he was tired, and so I had this. It turned out to be like a little bruised eye, and when I went to work the next day, I was like embarrassed. I worked in a law firm, and they go, "What happened?" I said, "Oh, I was playing tennis," but that's when I go, "Wait, do I really want to be with someone?" Even though it was definitely an accident, I was just such a free, independent woman that I thought, well, he might be moody. Maybe do I want to live with him? So I broke the engagement. We never got married. We're Facebook friends now, actually. He was married once again, and now he's single, but he said he was diagnosed as bipolar. But in those days, people thought you could, and even today, I really don't condone, I don't agree with medicinal marijuana, yes, but the legalization of pot, I'm not sure if I agree because it might have some bad effects, mood swings, just like pharmaceuticals and blah, blah, and alcohol. I think it might be misused. I'm not really a great I don't smoke pot, I have in my life. But I don't see, to me, it makes me more depressed than happy. And a lot of people that my friend, my best friend Linda, we actually used to live together as partners. Now we live separate apartments at Capsule Village. We're still friends, but we're not like lovers or anything. Anyways, she said it has the same effect. It makes her nervous. And I go, yeah, I really don't like the effect. I don't know, some people smoke every day, they tell me, and they like it, and I've seen different people react different, but to me, I'd rather see someone, a happy drunk, not a bad drunk, than a pot. To me, pot is an herb, and it might work great on medicinal things, but maybe not on the head. Am I going